Good morning, everyone. Shalom Aleichem. Oh, good morning, good morning, good morning. Parshas Vayishlach. So there is a cataclysmic event, the battle of Yaakov Avinu with Saro Shel Esav. Saro Shel Esav, Hu HaSatan, Hu HaYetzirah, Hu HaMalach HaMoves. That's Saro Shel Esav. If you want to know who Esav Rome is, that's who he is. That's the essence of the nation. Every malach, every nation has its own malach that is representative of who he is, of what the nation is. All right, so the Parshas here is very interesting. The Parshas last week, Vayetze and Parshas Vayishlach, are really connected. They cover the events in Yaakov Avinu's life from the time he left Eretz Yisrael to his going into Golus by Lavan, through his return to Eretz Yisrael. That's the picture right now. He leaves home. He's there for 20 some odd years. He's on the way back, and what he encounters and so on. So the Ramban on the pasuk of Yavor Avram be'eretz ad makom Shechem, that when he came back and he came up until Shechem, yes, so the Ramban says on that parshas that it's Maisa Avot Siman Labanim, and in all of the parshas of Bereshis, it's to teach us what will happen to Klal Yisrael in the future. Now, it's what's going to happen to. We already know that we know what's going to happen. We just don't know how, and we don't know exactly when. Sometimes it takes a short period of time. Sometimes it takes thousands of years. But it doesn't really matter. But we have to know that this is the process of the development of Klal Yisrael. Why? Because they were the avos, and if they were the avos, they're the roots. There, from the roots grow all the branches, and then ultimately all the fruit, and that's who we are. We're the fruit of the avos. And so it says the Ramban that if we analyze what took place with the avos, that will determine for us a deeper understanding in what we have faced and what we are about to face. So we'll see. So the Ramban says like this, that the battle between Yaakov Avinu and the Saro Shel Esav, that refers to the time when we have been subjected to persecution by Esav. That's the battle. Klal Yisrael has suffered from Esav for many, many, many years, almost to the point of extinction. Almost. We almost lost it. Not only were they Gashmiistic battles, but they were also Ruchniistic battles, in that they wanted to convert us. Forced conversions, inquisitions, pogroms, expulsions, all of that was to get us to change, to be like they are, almost to the annihilation of Yiddishkeit. That was the goal, not that they ever would or could achieve it. So Vayavo Yaakov Sholem, until the end, the last bit of the process is Vayavo Yaakov Sholem. That's the coming of Mashiach. Sholem says, the Gemara in Shabbos, listen to this, when it says Vayavo Yaakov Sholem, after the battle, after all of what he went through, he comes to Shechem, Vayavo Yaakov Sholem, Shechem. Came into Shechem, Sholem, complete, whole. He was limping, he was healed. Sholem begufo, he was Sholem in his body, physically. Shenisrape mitzah, from his limping he was healed. Sholem b'mamono, he didn't lose any money from all the money that he was going to give to Esav. Not only did he not lose money, but he's going to gain money. Why? Because Esav's going to pay us back in interest. Can you imagine what the interest is going to be on what Yaakov Avinu gave Esav? But all right. He lost nothing from the fact that he gave Esav this great big present. Sholem b'toirasai. Not only that, but he was sholem with his Torah. Why? Shokach Talmudo bebeis Lavan, as he says in Lavan Garti v'Taryag Mitzvah Shamarti. The word Garti, Rashi points out, as the same letters as the word Taryag, So in Lavan Garti, I lived with Lavan, the Taryag, Garti Taryag, Mitzvah Shamarti. Nothing was left. Nothing was touched. My ruchnius remained pure and clean and 100% whole. That was what Yaakov Avinu said. So this, the Maharal explains, this is what the Ramban says. Says the Maharal, it goes even deeper than that. He says that the Maharal says like this. He says this in Derech Chaim in a Pirush on Pirkei Avos. He says that each of the Avos correspond to a different era in the history of Klal Yisrael. Each one of the Avos. For example, Avram Avinu, his life started out not so perfect. He was didn't have a Zorah, and then all of a sudden he comes to recognize the truth. No, that's not a simple thing. It's not a simple thing to fight against the entire, not just the whole universe, his family, his the whole environment was completely, basically woke. They were gone. They were finished. They were lost. They were no longer. They were there. They were so much that they were ready to kill him, and they tried to, and they threw him into a fire, persecuted him. Began with Tsar, and he was persecuted, dafka for his emunah, and Hashem took him out of there and brought him into Eretz Yisrael, where he flourished. He flourished in Gashmias, and he flourished in Ruchnias. So that was the beginning. The beginning was Avram Avinu. This relates to our being in Mitzrayim. When we were in Egypt, we started out as Klal Yisrael. When we started out, it was not a pleasant situation. We started out as a family, but then we grew and grew and grew and grew. We became very populous, and then Mitzrayim took it and enslaved us and killed us and tortured us, both emotionally and physically, and all of that. And then Hashem took us out and brought us to Eretz Yisrael. So that was Avram Avinu, the beginning of Avram Avinu, beginning of Klal Yisrael, the beginning of the roots of Klal Yisrael, and then the beginning of actually the Klal Yisrael. We became Klal Yisrael in Mitzrayim. And with the leaving of Mitzrayim is when we were born. Says the Navi Yecheskel, B'yom huledes Isach, b'moladetich b'yom huledes Isach. This was our birthday. Pesach, it's our birthday. We came out of Mitzrayim. We were born as a nation, as the nation of Klal Yisrael. After entering Eretz Yisrael, we settled there, and we became a very powerful nation. I mean, up to the time of Shlomo HaMelech, when the whole world was coming to pay homage to Shlomo HaMelech. I met with us, I don't know if you remember, a fellow that was wheeling a wheelchair to help us, and it was taking us. He was talking, and he says, I come from your people too." I said, "Oh, really? Really?" I said, "Where do you come from?" He says, "Well, you heard of the Queen of Sheba?" I said, "Well, I come from King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba." So I looked at him, I said, "Oh, that's very nice. And where are you today?" He says, "I'm in Queens." But the point is, in Queens, you have to, this is Klal Yisrael. Up until Shlomo HaMelech, the world, like I said, was paying homage to him. This was the most wonderful period of time, and that was supposed to be the end. Shlomo HaMelech was supposed to be Mashiach until he made a big party when he married Bas Paro. But okay, now, after that, Yitzchak Avinu's life. Yitzchak Avinu's life started out in goodness. He was with his father. He never left Eretz Yisrael. He was absolutely, covered with wealth, no question about that, but with ruchnius, and he became Yitzchak Avinu, right? And then at the end of his life, it wasn't so good. He was blind. He was suffering. It says that he brought tsar. It says that Yeah, Avraham Avinu said, people should know when they die. When they're going, you should know when they're going to die, right? So he davened so that the people should get sick, because up until then nobody got sick. They took a sneeze and Shalom Al Yisrael. That was the end. That was it. That was life. That was life. Some say it's a very pleasant life, but that's the way it was. And Yitzchak Avinu had to have some tsar before he was able to leave this world.
But
So
he
this
lived longer anyway after he said he was going to die.
What?
He said twice that he was going to die, and yet he lived much longer after that.
Yeah, but he had tsar. So that you're talking about Yitzchak.
Yeah.
Yes. He was saying that what he was saying is he was feeling the tsar of getting older. And we can all attest to that. That there is. I'm not being facetious.
No.
I'm being realistic. So this corresponds to the time when Klal Yisrael were in Eretz Yisrael, when everything was great up until Shlomo HaMelech and beyond, till the Korbanos. And then came the Churban, and they went into Golus. So here you see the structure. The structure is, it started out not so good, became much more, it became better, and then it became fantastic, and then it started to go down. And that was up until Yisrael. Now, the life of Yaakov Avinu, however, Yaakov Avinu reflects the state of Klal Yisrael throughout all of Golus, because he was the one of the Avos that was only one that went into Golus. From all four Golus, and it started with Bavel. Well, where did Lavan live? Where did Lavan live? In Iraq, Aram Naraim. That's Bavel. So it started out, that was the first Golus. That was Bavel. Then came Golus Yavan. Then came Parshas Vayishlach and Yavan, and then Rome. All of those were relating to, and of course Rome relating to Esav and the battle and so on. So Yaakov Avinu is our Av, as it were. We who are born into Golus, Be'ez Hashem will be coming out of Golus, but that Yaakov Avinu represents, what happened to him represents what's happened to us throughout the centuries of Golus. In Parshas Vayishlach, we learn about how Yaakov Avinu had to deal with Lavan, who cheated on, and so on. That's the way. Bavel certainly was not pleasant to Klal Yisrael, and it predicts that which took place with, they were of the Avodah Zarah, like Lavan was of the Avodah Zarah, and so on. Parshas Vayishlach, the Torah tells us that Sarah shel Esav, when he battled with Yaakov Avinu, he was still in Chutz La'aretz. We're fighting the goyim of Chutz La'aretz. That's where we were. That's our history. 2,000 years worth. But Yaakov Avinu survives. In spite of all the attempts, Yaakov Avinu survives, and he's victorious. Not just that he survived, but he was victorious. And then Esav comes with 400 men, and he wants to, also to do and battle with Klal Yisrael. And what does Yaakov do? He buys him off, and he bought him off with the Doro. That's the gift that he gave, which I said he's going to. It's very interesting. There's a pasuk that it says that Malchei Tarshish ve'iyim mincha yashivu. It's a pasuk in Tilim Ayin Beis. Again, Malchei Tarshish ve'iyim. And that includes Rome, the Iyim. Yes, it says the Meforshim, Mincha Yashivu. What is they talking about? When Mashiach comes, they'll be bringing him a present. The whole world will be acknowledging that he is the Melech, and it doesn't matter who your vote is for. Mashiach is Mashiach, the Melech, right? It says Mincha Yashivu. It says Rashi even points out. Why does it say Mincha Yashivu? What should it be? Mincha Yitnu. They're going to give him a present. What's Yashivu? Oh, what's Yashivu? The present that Yaakov Avinu gave to Esav. He's going to return to the Mashiach with interest. So what we have here, this very clear picture that ultimately, in spite of everything that's taking place and has taken place, yes, with the Goyim, that Klal Yisrael will ultimately remain Klal Yisrael, will always survive. And it's remarkable that what happened to Yaakov Avinu also happened to us. First, we had to deal with Babel, as I said. Then we had to deal with that which came after Babel. Who came after Babel? After Babel came Parshas Vayishlach. Oh, Parshas Vayishlach. No, that's not. That's Parshas Vayishlach was Amalek. Yes, Haman, Amalek. Who was Amalek? A grandson of Esau. It's all Esau. And who did he join forces with?
Ishmael.
With Yishmael. Haman joined forces with Porras, right? Porras is Yishmael. Persia. Oh, that's not interesting. Why are we battling Persia? Why are we battling with those people? Maybe. But, we're battling with them. That was the battle of Haman when towards the end. This is what the process is going to be. And then it goes even weiter. That not only did they want to destroy us, but they wanted to take away our Yiddishkeit. Let's understand that. The battle, as much as it was with us and trying to get rid of us, the reason they wanted to why did they hate us for? What did they want from? Why do they want to get rid of us? They want to get rid of us because we represented the Rabban Shalom in this world. And you have to know that's exactly who we are. We are the agents of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We represent HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and what we do, yes, it's we say it, but we say that's not what I wanted to say. Maybe go lifnei v'neihem leman shemoy. What does that mean? He's bringing the goyal. We say in Shemona Esrei 3 times a day. If you daven 3 times a day, you say umevi goel. He's going to bring the goyal, the Mashiach. Yeah, leman shmoy bi'ahavo livnei v'neihem. Who's the bnei b'neihem? We. That's us. We're the grandchildren of the Avos. This is the parak in Avos. Umevi goel livnei v'neihem leman shmo. What does that mean? Leman Shmo means in order so his name should be validated and known and acknowledged, and the whole world will know there's a Rabbanu Shalom only because of our Geula, because we received the Geula. So as we approach Geula, we have to know that we as the representatives of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, if what we do is giving HaKadosh Baruch Hu, in a sense, he's used us to reveal himself to the world. And the whole world will come to acknowledge HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So that's the here and now. Goes even a little bit deeper than that. And you'll see how beautiful it comes. It's true with Yaakov and Esau. A small remnant of Klal Yisrael after the horrible, horrible tragedy of the destruction of Jewish Europe came back to Eretz Yisrael. Small group of people. And the people who were living here already, even though there were always Jews here, but the majority was not Jewish. People living here didn't want us to come back here. And they wanted to prevent our return. And Chazal say that the Yishmaelim that we have to deal with now are compared to the donkey. They're like donkeys. No. It's not. They're not calling names here. But what they're saying is you have to understand what that means. What's a donkey? Is a chamor. What's a chamor? Chomer. That's physicality. Pure, unadulterated physicality. I want to do what I want to do. And he said, Avram Avinu said to Eliezer and Yishmael, what did he say? Shvu lachem ho im chamor. You are with the chamor because you're so physical. They're so physical that even their olam haba is physical. You know that? Think about it. What they did is they took a concept which is beautiful. There's an olam haba. There's eternity. And what is that eternity? Yeah, a glorified olam hazeh. That's what eternity is by the Ishmaelim. Ishmaelim are going to get the 39 ladies and then we're going to be very happy. Forever. 72, 35, what? It's the same thing. Even one. Let it be one. All right, you're each going to get your own special. No, it's this is what we're dealing with. We have to know that, and that's what it is. And don't think for a moment. I have to. It bothers me very much when everybody talks about, oh, we'll give a state. They need land. They want land. They don't want land. They don't want land. They want one thing: that we don't exist. Because if we exist, that means we're right. No matter what happened, but we survived and we continue to exist. That means we're right, and that wonderful Beis Makam HaMikdash is truly ours. So it's not that they're fighting over the land and they want a state. They just want us out of the way. There's nothing like a family feud. Let me tell you, nothing. And this is who we have to deal with: family. We have to deal with Ishmael, who originally was family, but he decided he was thrown out in the first, right in the beginning. And then came Esav. Esav was born by Rivka and Yitzchak.
Together with Yaakov in the same.
Right, exactly. One of they were supposed to be absolute and complete partners. That was the goal. The goal of Yaakov and Esav is that Yaakov should be the one who is working for Olam Haba through Olam Hazeh for everybody, and Esav was going to provide him the wherewithal to be able to do it. That's what it was all about. Except Esav is a little different. He came from Yitzchak and Rivka, but he chose to reject it. It's not when he was thrown out. It wasn't that he was thrown away. It wasn't that he says, you don't belong here. You don't belong. You do belong. In fact, what we know is that the head of Esav is where? In Maras Machpelah. That's the head of Esav. The rest of him, wherever it's decaying, it doesn't matter, because that's his goof. But the head is where the neshama rests, and his neshama was Kaddish. They were two powerful neshamas. And she teaches us what one neshama can end up becoming and what one neshama could end up becoming. Okay, so this business that the people who were living here didn't want us here, it's like the battle of the Shvatim, when Yaakov came back to Eretz Yisrael, they had a fight with Shechem. And because they fought with Shechem, and because they were victorious with Shechem, they got all the neighbors around to get upset with Klal Yisrael, the Knanim, and they had to fight the Knanim. Isn't that what happened here? Small little remnant coming back into Eretz Yisrael. The Arabs that were living here didn't want us here, and they incited all the neighbors around. Why does Iraq care about us over here? What does Iraq, Syria, Egypt, everybody got the whole world up against us? That's what happened with Yaakov Avinu when they came back to Eretz Yisrael. Now, I want to talk about the Plishtim. Who are Plishtim? Who are we dealing with? Palestinians. Where'd they get the name Palestine? Palestine was not a name that was from the Romans. That's correct. But why did they call it Palestine? Because there were Plishtim who lived in that area of Gaza, actually. They were Plishtim. And our battle with Plishtim goes back a long way. And that's whom they identify with. They are Plishtim. Now let's talk about what Plishtim are. The Gemara, there's a Gemara in Avodah Zarah, a beautiful Gemara. It defines for us the first parak in Tehillim. Okay? How validated is the man who didn't walk and follow the advice of Rishoyim and the derech hatoyim lo amad, and he did not stand with those who sin. Umagshav leitzim lo yoshav, and he didn't dwell among people who were leitzon. Says the Gemara, asher lo ashrei oish asher lo holach ba'atzas v'shoyim. Who's that one that didn't walk with the Eitz of Rishoyim? Avram Avinu. Why? Shaloholach ba'atzas anshe dor haflaga. He was the only one that stood up against the dor haflaga and said, Shebrashoyim hayu shene'amar haba nivna lanu ir. Let us build a city. V'zeh ma'aseh Russia. What was the city? And Migdal. By the way, the city spreads out horizontally. The Migdal goes this way. I don't want to make the sign, but that's exactly what it is. It's vertical. What do you think What do you think that comes from? Just because they wanted to hang them up on wood? No, that's a replica of what took place in Migdal's bubble. And being that I wasn't here for Noach, so I'm going to tell you something very quickly. What was going on? They weren't idiots. What did they really believe? They really thought they were going to take bows and arrows and shoot God. I mean, come on. They weren't 3-year-olds. These were people that were so close to Adam Arishan. Come on, it's not shy. You know what they wanted to do? They agreed that there's a Borei Olam. They had no question that there's a Borei Olam. You can't fight with somebody that doesn't exist. So they wanted. There was a Borei Olam. There was a creator of heaven and earth. But he said, Hashamayim Shamayim Lashem v'Haaretz Nosan Livnei Adam. We're in charge here. You stay up there, have a good time, do what you want, run your world up there. But v'Haaretz Nosan Livnei Adam, they gave us, they wanted to remove godliness from the physical world. You want to talk about spirituality, Gesundheit. And that was the whole battle with Yaakov and Esav, about the Bechorah. But Yaakov said, what do you want with the Bechorah? And he said that Lama Zeli Bechorah, he's going to die. Yeah, so Lama Zeli Bechorah. What do I need a Bechorah for? Bechorah is your service, your Kohen Gadol, your Samigdash. I don't need any of that, but you need it. So, here it is. He gave it, literally, he sold it for peanuts. Why did he sell it for peanuts? Why did he sell it? I shouldn't say peanuts. Excuse me, for a few arbis. I mean, he sold it for what? For adashim and a soup on top of it. It wasn't even a full adash. It was a soup. That's correct. It was valueless to him. And had no value. When I say valueless, not the other way around. Okay. So that's who Ashrei Ish Asher Lo Holach Ba'atzas V'Shoim. That was Avraham Avinu, who didn't walk in the path of the Dor HaMabul. Ashrei Ish Asher Lo Holach Ba'atzas V'Shoim. Ze Avraham Avinu. Shlo Holach Ba'ansei Ansei Dor. Oh, excuse me. Did I say the first one is the Lo Amad Umos. Yeah. Oh, that's the first one. The second one is V'derech Chatoim Lo Amad. He didn't stand with the people who sinned. So he said, "Shlo Amad ba'amidas stom asher Chatoim hayu." He didn't join Stom. He was ready to save them, but he was very upset that his nephew Lot went to Stom. So that was that. Then comes the third one. Ubemoshav leitzim lo yoshav. He didn't sit with leitzim. What is a letz?
Mocker.
A mocker, a frowner, a comedian. Okay, there's nothing that has covered can stand up to a comedian because he can make fun of everything. Shalo yoshav b'moshav anshe plishtim. The plishtim are leitzim. They don't recognize that which is truly covered. Mipnei sheleitzonim hayu shenemai vayikitov liba vayomer shkiru l'shimshon v'yisachar kulan. They want to play games. That was what they wanted this world only for games and for enjoyment and for pleasure and the way I see pleasure, okay? The way I want it, what I call pleasure. Now, so if the Plishtim were leitzim and they were empty and meaningless games, what does that end up doing? That there is no covet. That's number one. They don't have any real respect for anything. They may have external respect. They might talk in nice words, but in the end, nothing has value except for what they want and what they wanted and they were prepared also for what they believed in. That was the rule of thumb. Don't you start up with what I believe in, but I don't have any cover for anything outside of me. That's not me. And nothing had value or importance in the eyes of a letz And that was the essence of the character of the Plishtim. Where'd they come from? Where did the Plishtim come from? Anybody know? All of a sudden there's a bunch of people sitting there on Gaza. Where did they come from? So listen to this. This is a pasuk in the Chumash, right? In the beginning of Bereshis. Umitzrayim yolad es ludim. Mitzrayim gave birth to ludim, the es anomim, the es lahavim, the es naftuchim, the es pasrusim, the es kasluchim, asher yotzu misham plishtim. The plishtim came from pasrusim and kasluchim. Now, what is that? Each one had was a separate entity. Plishtim all of a sudden comes from two. He comes from Pasrusim and Kasluchim. Say, Chazal, do you know what was going on with the Plishtim? Yeah. They shared wives, and therefore nobody knew who the father was. And that's Plishtim. What goes on with people who claim to be Palestinian, what goes on behind closed doors, we shouldn't know from it. But don't you do it on the outside, God forbid. Got to be covered up like this. More than one eye, right? Yeah, you have to be covered up. What does that mean? The nastiness of it all. Wait, we're not finished. So they have no yichus. They don't know who the daddy is. Fine. The Gemara in Sota says like this. Goliath was called Ha-Plishti. Now, what happened here with Goliath? Well, we know David HaMelech and Goliath, famous. We live right here. It happened right around the corner. David HaMelech and Goliath. Who was the Goliath? Goliath was a Plishti. He called him the Plishti, but he wasn't from the Plishtim. Where did he come from? Oh. Came from Moab. Very good. Came from Moab. How did he come from Moab? Orpah. What happened with Orpah? She left her mother-in-law, Naomi, and where did she go to? Oh, Chayiznut, 100 men in one night. And I didn't finish. Okay, Shalamis. Shalom Aleichem. That's true. And a dog. But wait a minute. That was Orpah, and she had a child and a grandchild. The grandchild of Orpah was Goliath. But he didn't. He's called the Plishti because he has no idea who his father was. Could have been any one of 100 men. One more. That's a Plishti. That's the reason he's called Plishti. Wasn't from Palestine. Wasn't. And David HaMelech, he comes b'Shem Hashem. That's the difference between Rus and Orpah. Nebuch. I always have a soft spot for Orpah. I really do. I mean, when I read it and I learn about it, I feel bad for Orpah. Nebuch, look what happened. She was so close to Naomi. She didn't want to leave at the beginning. But when things got rough and tough, and she knew that she would have difficulty where she was going with Naomi, she left. And once you leave, it's a downward slope. And down you go. Ad Kedei Kach. Who was the Melech of the Plishtim, by the way, in the time of Avram Avinu? Anybody know? Avimelech. And who did he take? Sarah. Right? Took Sarah. Took Sarah from Rabbi Melech. And what happened? Oh, it goes on and on and on. But the chutzpah. The chutzpah of Avimelech was beyond. In fact, the Plishti, which is a letz, has enormous amount of chutzpah, because if you don't have any respect for anything, then you have a lot of chutzpah. And you don't respect someone who acts with proper behavior, and you make fun of it, especially in the newspapers. So Hashem appeared to Avimelech and said, this lady that you took is a Nashis Ish. And if you don't let go of her, I'm going to kill you. So what does he say? Hey, God, this is Hashem appeared to him in a dream. And he says, Hagoy gam tzaddik taroi? Are you going to kill a righteous nation also? What does that have to do? He said, you killed stone, a whole nation. They were righteous people. They were good people, you chutzpin yak. Nice guys. Stoim. And the 4 kings and the 5 kings, you killed them all. So you're going to kill me too? Now, what would you call that? Astonishing chutzpah, right? He says you killed the Dora Mabul. You killed you killed the Dora Mabul, and then you go ahead and you destroy the Dora Haflaga. What? And me too now? Where do you come in? Well, who are you? Who are you? What? How dare you look at that as a reason to justify your behavior? So, one is that they have a lot of chutzpah, and one is that they have no cover. It's the same thing in the end. Do you know who has no cover? Know who has the greatest amount of chutzpah according to Chazal? There's an animal that represents chutzpah. No, you said it already. Say it again. Yeah, it's the dog. Where do we say it? If you look in the Zmiris of Shalashudis, it says Hane Kalbin de Chatzithin. The dogs there are chutzpahdik. What does that mean? What do you want from the pork shepherd? Excuse me, what's his name?
Charlie.
Charlie? Charlie is yeah. Okay.
Caleb Rock.
That's right. We're talking about Caleb Rock. We're not talking about. So this
Present
is
company accepted.
where do the dogs go when you have a dog in the house? Wherever it wants. It sticks its nose into everything. It'll be at your table, and you got to feed him under your table, right? Or sometimes on top of the table. It goes into your bedroom. That's chutzpah. What are you pushing your nose into something where you don't belong? The Rosh Yeshiva Zechariah, my Rebbe, Rav Hutner Zechariah Tzaddik Livracha, used to say, "But hanikalbin the chatzifin, these chutzpah dogs." So you would think, what's the chutzpah of a dog? The chutzpah of a dog, you would say, is because he barks at human beings. You know, I'm a Tzelem Elokim. What are you barking? You dog, what you are? You're barking at a Tzelem Elokim. Says Rosh Yeshiva, no, that's not the chutzpah. It's a bigger chutzpah. What's the bigger chutzpah? That the dog thinks it can be a friend to a Tzelem Elokim.
People treat it that way.
Well, that's not why. Why? That's and there lies a chutzpah. What it doesn't mean. Hello, excuse me. I don't mean that the dog, in essence, yes, he has no control of what he does. He acts on instinct. But we play into that instinct and we create that. It's not that it's all back on human beings. It's the way you treat them. That's the way they are.
Yet they kept quiet when they were living with Charlie.
How did they keep quiet? You think it was because they wanted to? They had a bechira to keep quiet? No. They didn't have bechira to keep quiet. They were rewarded, by the fact that Hashem kept them quiet, but they were still rewarded. You see, that's HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He rewards. Yeah, you didn't have any, but you did the right thing was done. Okay, of course they're going to be there. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is, but this is the chutzpah of Plishtim, and this is the chutzpah of the Yishmaelim, and this is the leitzonos of the Yishmaelim. Now, one more thing. No, got a couple more. Where else do we find the Plishtim? So the Gemara brings like this. Yeah, we did him. Okay. Oh, no, we didn't quite do him. But no, it wasn't. Yeah, he fought them a lot. We did talk about that. They wanted to play games and party all the time. Now, the Gemara says like this, that when they took the Aron was nignaz. It was hidden away. It was hidden away. We don't know where it is, but it was hidden. So it says the Gemara, it's a Gemara in Horius, that Shemen HaMishcha v'Tzinsenes Hamon, the Shemen HaMishcha that was used to anoint the Kohen Gadol and all of them, so all the Kohanim, the Tzinsenes Hamon, the little pot of mun that was put on the side of the Aron, right? The Tzinsenes Hamon and the Shemen HaMishcha, which made the Kelim of the Beis HaMikdash Kodesh. Maklo shel Aharon, the staff of Aaron that all of a sudden sprouted shkedim, right? With Korach, shkedim uprochel, the argaz shesholchu plishtim doirain liyisrael, and there was a box box of gold, actually, that they gave to Klal Yisrael. So anything that had to do with the Aron, was placed in Geniza. Says the Gemara like that. Now, when Shiloh was destroyed, when the Mishkan was in Shiloh, it was destroyed. Who destroyed it? The Plishtim. What did they do? They took the Aron. They captured the Aron. They thought they got it. The Raiders of the Ark. Boy, did they raid the Ark. They took the Ark, and there they were, and brought it to Gat. I don't know, but it doesn't matter. They brought it to Gat. That's all right. It's fine. Brought it to Gat. It's okay. Where's Gat? Gat is not far from here, right? They brought the Aron to Gat. What happened? Well, funny things started happening. Nobody was able to get, first of all, near it, and people were dying left and right all over the place, and they thought they'd move it here, they'd move it there. Nothing. They couldn't get rid of the thing. So they put it on 2 oxen, and they sent it off on its way with an aron full of gold. And these oxen started walking from Gat, and they got all the way to Beit Shemesh. Came to Beit Shemesh. That's where they stopped. Now, what is this agaz of gold? I mean, what is this buck? Why did that have to go with the Aron? Because anything that was connected or came about as a result of the Aron and its kedusha and its power and its total, absolute, beyond the physicality of this world, that had to be nignaz. So the Tzinsenes Mon, the Mate of Aaron HaKoyen, and all the things, the last section, and even the box. The gold, I think they took. But the box had also a different status because it was connected to the Aron. Because the Aron was the ultimate covet. When we talk about covet, that's why it couldn't stay in Gat, because there's no covet there that we're plishtim, and the ultimate covet is the Aron. What's in the Aron? The Aron is the luchas. It's the luchas habris. Now, what is that? What is covet? How many times have we talked about it? We said that the word covet and the word yakar are the same. Yeah, la Yehudim ha'isa oira v'simcha v'sasayin. B'yikar v'chol hanoshim yasu yikor lebaleihem in the Megillah. Yakar is covered. You didn't show me covered. You see what happens when you don't show covered? Show covered. Yakar has, and by the way, what do most people give covered to?
Money.
That's it. Expensive. Anything that's expensive, you treat it differently than something. You have a diamond, go just, laying it down anywhere. You put it very carefully into the box and goes to the top of the box and send your husband to find it afterwards. But that's the way it usually works. No, seriously, the covered and is covered and yokar are one and the same. And that there is no covered. There is nothing of value, because something of value, yakar, that's where the covet lies. What's the ultimate covet? The highest covet of all is the Borei Olam, because he is the value. There is no higher value than HaKadosh Baruch Hu. There's nothing that is more valuable. There is nothing in the world. And the Aron was reminiscent, or was clearly an indication of the covet of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because all the midas that took place in the Beis Hamikdash, Rachum, Chanun, Erchapayim, Ishtachava, all of that. But the Aron was Eino Min Amida. We've said that it didn't occupy any physical space. If you measured from one end of the Aron to the other side of the Kodesh Kodashim, to one side, it was 10, another side, 10. What about, and you measured the outside, it was 20. So where was the Aron? It didn't occupy space. Not occupying space is not of this world. You can't show me anything in this world that doesn't occupy space. Anything physical has to occupy space. Okay. Now, let's just get the end. Almost. The end of the Golus. Attaining supremacy. Klal Yisrael. So, in the end, as we said before, That Yaakov Avinu showed that he won Nasar Shel Esav, and he took supremacy. So only after the Bnei Yisrael freed themselves from any influence by the Goyim, that's when Yaakov came Shalom. We have to recognize that that's the process by which we attain our Geula. Just like Yaakov attained the Geula of Shleimus by being healed from the persecution of Sarah Esav and Esav and so on and so forth. What did happen? Listen to this part. Listen to this psukim. Vayomer Yaakov el Beiso ve'el kol asher imo hasiru es Elohei anechor asher b'sochachem. Get rid of all the idols. V'hita'aru, and you'll become tahor. V'hichlifu simlo sechem, and change your clothes. V'yitnu Yaakov es kol eile anechor asher b'yodam. He gave them all, and the sanizomim and their rings, asher ba'ozneim that were in their ears, vayitmon osam Yaakov tachas ha'ela asher im Shechem. He buried it under a tree in Shechem. They had to get rid of it. Vayisu vayit chitas. There's the chitas, the fear of Elokim ha'le'orim, asher svivoseim v'lo rodfu achar b'nei Yisrael. Even though they incited all the nations against them, and that's what's happening today. All the nations aren't being incited. There isn't a place. Any global issue is always against Klal Yisrael. They're being incited. So what is Hashem saying to us? Get rid of the Goyish influences. Stop the don't buy into their garbage. I mean, we are nice people. We are good people. We all care about every individual, but not with a sense of fake morality, not with a sense of covering it over. That's Esav. That's pure Esav. And I'll end with one last thing, because you're tired and I'm tired. I'll end with one last thing. Yaakov and Esav, Chazal say, each one took one part of Adam Rishon. That's how special they were inside the womb. Each one took and ultimately inherited one part of Adam Rishon. Each one took one part. Yaakov took the Tzelem Elokim. That's what he took. He was created B'Tzelem Elokim. You looked at Yaakov Avinu, you saw Tzelem Elokim. What did Esav take? He took the begodim. The begodim. What are the begodim? The external. I look like Adam, don't I? You know, I mean, I maybe even resemble him. We have a long nose. What's the same thing? It's what does it mean? It means that you only want the chitzonius, the physicality, the outside, the begodim that covered up the busha. And Yaakov Avinu, there was no busha. Yaakov Avinu took the tzelem. And that's the difference. And our avodah, as much as we have external pomp and circumstance in the avodah of the Beis Hamikdash, the Kohanim had special garments. They did, but that isn't what made the Kohen Gadol the Kohen Gadol. It was on his lave. It was what's doing inside on the left. The Choshen, which had the Urim V'Tumim in it, that was his lave. The church, all they took are the outside begodim. They're fancy, a big tall hat and a skirt and purple garments and when you look at a service of what is going on with Esav's descendants, it's all they got is the external. That's all it is. It's the church. Look at the big churches. All right, so there are a lot of people, but they had to have room, but not the opulence that they show. All right, that's what does that tell you? That it's coming. That it's coming. That's what it tells us today. So that's what we have to do. We want Mashiach. Everybody says that we want Mashiach, right? We do, of course we do, and we daven for it. The Semach David Abduchom Meheras Atzmi V'Karnu Torim B'Shuos Echoki. Because we're waiting for it already. How do I know you're waiting for it, says the Rabbeinu Shalom, that we do what Yaakov Avinu did. We got rid of all of the Goyish influences. And that means you know what it means. It means that when we say Baruch Hashem, they can also say thank God. But when we say Baruch Hashem, we have to say it with a different kind of intention. When we make a bracha, we have to make it with a different kind of intention. I say this all the time. I won't get tired. You might, but I won't. Every time you make a bracha, just stop for a tenth of a second and say, I'm doing this because this is what Hashem wants, not because that's the way I was brought up or that's the way I was taught. I'm doing it because Hashem wants me to do it. Every mitzvah I do. The Hasidim already went a little bit further. They had hineni, muchan, zoom. All right, so they make a whole tekes out of it. No, it's yeah. You want to gesundheit hate. I mean, I'm sure Hashem is taking nachas. But the idea behind it is not just because if you say hineni, muchan, zoom, and the way you make the bracha, then you haven't done anything. You have to be aware of what you do and when you do it and how you do it. And that is the mechanism to get rid of all goyish influences, because they have no concept of this at all. And everybody in his own life has to make a decision about how they want to minimize what we've absorbed as non-Jewish culture to a large degree. Each one in the amount that they have. But I'm talking about the general klal. You look around, and certainly all the Nebuch, these people that are don't want to be called Jewish, they want to be called Israelis. We have to understand that they too have a Tzelem Elokim. They too are the Bnei Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, and our heart has to reach out to them in a very positive way. And any little movement. Got to tell you a story. One story. We had a wonderful Shabbos last Shabbos. My kids from Yerushalayim were here. My granddaughters who were in SEM together. And so I had to get, we were gone for a while, so we were missing a lot of the plastic cutlery and the other stuff. Dishes and so on. I mean, there were a lot of
silver cutlery.
Okay, excuse me. Yes, we did. Okay, the dishes. Good. So I went to buy dishes, right? The plastic dishes. But the store that I normally buy the plastic dishes was closed. It was too early. Even though they said they'd open at 9 o'clock, and they didn't, and I was there after 9, but they didn't open. So I said, I'm going to go down in here in the center of town and call out by, that big store with all the plastic stuff there, right there. Figured I'll go there. This was just easier to park and so on and so forth. So I went to the center of town. I walk into the store and the guy says to me, a gray beard, nice, beautiful, good looking young. Well, he got a gray beard. He's not so young, but he said to me, what's your name? I said, Yehuda Silver. He said, where do I know you from? So I said, I really don't know. What's your name? He said, I don't know. It's Akiva, I think, or Yechiel Hall. Hall? Oh, I said, tell me where. Hold on. No, hold on. Don't give it away. So I said to him, Hall, from where? So he said, from Southstone. Oh. And where do your parents come from? From England, Bournemouth. And where were they before Bournemouth? Nottingham. I said, and his first name is Ronnie? Looked at me, he said, well, he was at a seed seminar. He was at a seed seminar that we had, how many years ago? I'm afraid to say, a long time ago, okay? And at one of our seed seminars, his mother came there and she walked in and she said, just like this, we were taking registration, right? And she said, I'm the driver. My husband wanted to come, but I'm the driver. I'm not interested in anything. And she was busy knitting. And she was sitting there knitting and knitting and knitting and knitting. And she does it still. I'm sure she does. Joey used to say, clickety clack with her now during all the lectures, but she was listening to every word. And they became frum. And they came to, and as I left, he said to me, and that if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here today.
Wow.
So what is it?
All the plates for nothing.
Huh?
You can have all the plates for nothing.
No, Don't think the thought didn't occur. No, I wasn't expecting that. But what I was saying, what I'm trying to get at no one knows, where that spark is. It's there and it's alive and it's powerful. And any one of us can, and I didn't do anything very special. I just said some words and they listened. But it can be ignited by the way we talk to them, and that's called removing the goyish influences from our side. Hashem Ya'azor, that we should all be Zoichet to Gula Shlema, and we will see Yeshua's and Refuah's and Kol Tu.
We're seeing it right now. We're on to Damesek.
Yeah, Ad Damesek. It says it in Hoshanis. In Hoshanis, it says Ad Hashivi Ad Damesek.
But Damesek rearranged Mishkan, which we exactly. I just heard that.
That's nice. Hi,
Thank you,
how
Rabbi.
are you?
Thank God. How are you?
Good. Baruch Hashem. We'll be
Nice,
okay.
nice to have you back.
Be'ez Hashem. So nice to see you. You look great.
Thank you. You too. Take care. Bye.